The Rock, aka Dwayne Johnson, plays the same character in every film. Literally exactly the same. He plays the big masculine ripped dude who gets the girl and saves the day. That's it. That's the depth of his career. Just the one character. Some examples: Jumanji, San Andreas, Fast and Furious, Skyscraper, Baywatch, Walking Tall, and many more that all have the exact same character in them. Well, I guess that's what happens when your acting career begins as a wrestler. Lemon Boy and me started to get on together. I helped him plant his seeds and we mowed the lawn in bad weather. It's actually pretty easy being nice to a bit of a special thank you to my patrons NQS and McPuffin, and to YouTube member Holly Miller for supporting the channel and supporting my content. Thank you. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today we are going to be looking at some hot takes and some not so hot takes. That is, we are going to be looking at r/unpopular opinions. The opinions in this vary from things that are technically just fact and should be accepted as such, like the Satanic Temple has done more for human rights than Christianity has ever done, and then there are some things that are just blatantly incorrect and almost border on slander and lies, like Blue the Nerd's beard and moustache is not majestic. Let's take a look, shall we? People who are really intense sports fans are in the same caliber of nerd as people really into comic books or superheroes. If you spend a lot of your time increasing your knowledge in the minute details of a topic or engaging with other people on the basis of that topic, debates, discussions, etc., you fit society's definition of what a nerd is. I never understood how that label has never been passed on intense sports fans when they do practically the same things. The only difference I can see is that only some sports fans actually engage with the sport physically, but a lot of them don't. Engaging in sports is a far more virtual experience than a lot of people would care to admit. Edit. Posted this because I had an argument with it with a coworker. I don't recall if it's popular or not, honestly. Nothing wrong with being any type of nerd. I just don't understand why one is viewed as nerdy or geeky and one is not. I absolutely agree with this statement. You could say the same about lots of things, about intense car fans or trucks, like people that know the ins and outs of every type of truck, and like the people that know the ins and outs of every types of guns or video games or anime. They're all just super fans. At the end of the day, they all come into the same category. The only exception is if you are actually a sporty person. For example, if you know every technique that is required in a snooker game, but you're not a fan of watching snooker, you happen to actually be a professional snooker player. But even then, you could still be considered a nerd of the sport even if you actually play it, you know? At the end of the day, it's all the same thing. Brushing your teeth in the shower is underused and underappreciated. When you brush your teeth in the shower, you are saving time. You also feel so much cleaner in the morning when you step out of the shower with the combined feeling of a clean body and no more morning breath. Finally, cleaning the brush, rinsing your mouth, and getting the excess paste off your face is far easier when you just use the shower head. Yes and no to this one. I can imagine in a lot of ways it's a great thing. You save water because you're doing it while showering, etc. Although I don't know how much of a difference that would really make. The problem is, I don't know what it's like in other countries, but in the UK, hot water specifically isn't so clean. Cold water comes from the city's power supply? No, the city's water supply mostly, and is generally clean as long as you run it for a couple of seconds so you've not got the stagnant water that sits in the pipes. But hot water often comes from storage tanks that are in houses or other various supplies of water that sit around and are stagnant and are not nearly as clean as cold water. So while this could help in some ways, in the UK at least, I wouldn't want to be brushing my teeth with the water that comes from those gross stagnant tanks. I mean, it's already bordering on kind of gross washing my body in them. So yes and no. This is going to be a long video. I'm already realizing that now. I love black olives on pizza. The title says it all. I understand that a lot of people don't like black olives, but seriously, try black olives on pizza if you haven't already. It doesn't taste like a lot of people expect it would. I feel like with a lot of things, if everyone says that it's bad, people immediately believe it without even trying it for themselves. I didn't realize that olives on pizza wasn't a norm. Domino's don't even give you the option to put olives on pizza, which is insane. But like, olives on pizza is, I don't know if that's just my family, but olives on pizza is like a staple. That's like almost a must. You go to a nice pizza place, you get olives on pizza. I didn't know people didn't know that olives on pizza was a great thing, you know? Dogs shouldn't be taken from owners / put down if they bite a kid. I know it sounds bad, but hear me out. I've seen kids treat dogs terribly. I've watched them pull ears, tails, legs, and just straight up smack the dog because they find it funny. And then we punish the dog because it gets mad after that. Now I know that humans know better than to hit kids, but dogs bite all ages if you do things like that. So I don't see why some brat should get to walk away from that while the dog gets put down. I agree with this. I genuinely think that if a child has provoked an animal into attacking them, it's not the animal's fault. At the end of the day, it's an animal. I will be honest, if a kid kicks me, I'm going to kick back, and I'm not a dog. Like, kids are just the worst. I hate kids. I would rather have a dog than a kid any day, and if my dog bites a kid, it's almost definitely going to have been the kid's fault. End of story. The dog shouldn't be put down, the kid should. I don't know if I can say that. The I wanna die lol attitude isn't funny or quirky. As a teenager, I am surrounded by this attitude, and honestly it's hard to handle. I'm naturally positive and optimistic and want to live my life to the fullest, and I know not everyone is like that, but when people are constantly saying, even if it's a joke, I wanna die lol, I get genuinely worried and want to do something to help. I know a lot of people have anxiety, and some, but not all, actually have depression. This opinion is more gauged towards the people who are the I'm quirky because I have depression type. I am friends with a large number of these types of people because I can usually just laugh it off with them, or they are pretty cool people to hang out with. This post is really just to get this off my chest, but yeah, I just want to help people, man. Edit, too long don't read, depression isn't quirky or a personality trait. Edit 2, I know jokes can be used for a coping mechanism. Edit 3, this really isn't something I complain about in person, it's just something I had on chest and wanted to get others' opinions on. When I'm actually making my friends and they make jokes like this, I just try to be positive and try to bring them up a bit. I agree with this in most ways of what they're saying. As someone who actually suffers from depression and anxiety and is on medication for it, which helps a lot, by the way. The quirky, like, oh, I'm depressed and that's my whole personality thing really bothers me. You see it a lot on Reddit and on Instagram and stuff. These people think that it makes them cool because they're like depressed and, oh, I'm always sad, I don't know the feeling of happiness and stuff. And it's like, well, all you're doing is proving that you have no idea what depression actually means. Depression isn't just never feeling happy and always feeling sad. That's not what it is at all. And pretending to be depressed or thinking it's funny or quirky and saying, I want to die all the time, it's just not, I don't know. It's okay if it's a joke every now and then, but on the internet, it is so often used. I'm pretty sure I've used the joke at some point, but it's used so often that it's just not funny anymore. Bohemian Rhapsody isn't a great song. Lads, if I'm being honest, I don't get hyped for this song. It's alright in that, but I think it's overrated. I've heard better songs from that era, so it's weird that this is picked as one of the greatest songs of all time. That's just how I see it. The first part of the song is really good, but the second part just puts me off for some reason. This is sort of, it's an opinion, and music is very opinionated. That's the whole point. Everybody likes different stuff. But the thing with Bohemian Rhapsody is that on an objective level, when you look at technique and structure and everything, it is an incredible song. Bohemian Rhapsody is an incredible song, and it's one of the best songs ever written. Now, I totally get what he's saying in that he doesn't get hyped for this song. If I'm being honest, I don't listen to it that often. It's not the type of song I just sit down and listen to, but that doesn't make it not an incredible song, you know? Fake crowd noises add nothing to the watching experience. Fake crowd noises in sports events nowadays adds absolutely nothing to the watching experience. If anything, it worsens the experience. Don't know what the broadcasters are thinking, adding the fake noise. I didn't know they added fake noise to sports. I do agree with this, however, in other stuff, for example, sitcoms and comedies like Friends, which is the most unfunny show in the world, and people only laugh at it because they're told to laugh. If you remove all of the canned laughter and crowd noises from Friends, you will see just how unfunny that show is. Try it. Try watching a cut of that show without all the fake laughing. Laughing. It's the worst. Oh, I hate just canned laughter in general. Just the worst. I don't know why it's still used.
Great class. Thanks, man. Yeah, I was watching.
Being a stay-at-home parent isn't a job. I just read an AITA with the commenters all ganging up to say that a stay-at-home parent is as much a real job as the ones you get paid for. But it isn't. That isn't to say a stay-at-home parent sits on their ass all day. They do keep busy chasing kids. But the stuff they're doing, it's the same thing working parents do, but crammed into fewer hours. Cooking, cleaning, childcare, it's all done by working parents too. It's stuff that they can do in between work shifts. Stay-at-home parents who glorify what they do, I don't think they fully realize that working parents do the exact same thing and it's nothing special. In fact, I commend working parents for sacrificing their time to do the housework and cooking and the homework with their kiddos after work. I say this as an unpopular opinion because apparently, according to many commenters, it's apparently a real job. I agree. I was actually going to make a similar point to what they just said before I read the whole thing, in that working parents do all the exact same stuff. And what about when your kid goes to school? What about when your kid is no longer at home or doing things outside of the house, usually at a time where working parents would be working? You're just doing housework and stuff that working parents have to do outside of work. At the end of the day, you're doing less work than the working parents. So I agree with this, even if it's an unpopular opinion. Another point that I didn't mention that I think is really important is that stay-at-home parents have the financial stability to be able to stay at home and not work because they have a partner who is working and is supporting the family, whereas not all parents have that ability, and some of them have to go to work to be able to support their child as well as look after their child. Kicking your son/daughter out when they hit 18 is stupid. I don't understand why this is so common in America. I don't know about other countries. Sometimes I hear they are charging them rent to stay in the house. What the f*** is wrong with you? How can you charge your own son/daughter rent? I support making them do chores around the house and stuff like that because it helps them realize what it's like being an adult. But kicking them out just because they are 18 and the reason being you're an adult now and need to learn how to deal with everything on your own is f***ing stupid. If you kick them for not doing something useful with their lives, or because they are not getting a job, it is your fault because you didn't do a good job being a parent. I know there are exceptions when the kid doesn't cooperate at all, but give him 2 or 3 years. Nobody is perfect. Everyone does stupid things. If he still doesn't want to change, I agree, kick him out. Also, asking for the money back you spent on them during college is fucking stupid. If you can't afford to explain it to them, if you were at least a decent parent, they will be grateful enough to return the favor without you asking for the money. You don't have to send them on the streets with nothing just to see what it's like without help. Maybe this isn't so common as I think it is since I'm not from America, but I see a lot of posts where this is mentioned and it pisses me off. I'm lucky in that my parents haven't kicked me out and I don't have to pay rent, although I contribute what I can. They do expect me when I'm earning money to pay rent, and I think that if your child is earning money and is trying to get a job and is trying to earn, then if they're living with their parents, it makes sense that they would contribute, at least pay rent and help out with food or bills, because they are at the end of the day living with their parents while earning money. But in the modern day, not only are college debts crippling when you have to start paying them off because they are huge, but college doesn't even guarantee you a good job. People are so heavily overqualified but come out of college and work in McDonald's or fast food or retail. We live in a society now where getting good jobs is incredibly hard for people just entering the job market. So punishing people for not being able to is stupid. That's why I'm a YouTuber. The lack of live audiences has revealed that a lot of these late night comedy shows are really not that funny. I usually enjoy watching Stephen Colbert, Trevor Noah, etc. Lately, however, I've realized that many times I was laughing at their jokes simply because there was a live audience that was initiating the laughing. Now there is no audience laughter, I feel that these comedians are really not that funny. The awkward silence after each punchline has highlighted this, and I struggle to laugh after each joke. Laughter is contagious after all. Again, I've said this point, audience laughter actually ruins the experience for me. It makes it feel less funny and more forced to me. I don't know if we're gonna get through all of these pictures before my camera's battery or memory dies. Uh-oh. Schools should realize mental health is more important than schooling in a lot of cases. A lot of schools push for their schooling and even having precedence over the mental health of students. Because of this, mental health is low in the school setting and at home. Then the school wonders why the student's mental health is low and blames other things, like sometimes kids just have naturally low mental health or the stress of school does it for them. I agree, this is case number 1 for why I am never having a child unless I live somewhere like Finland, because their school system is far beyond ours in every way, including mental health. Teens shouldn't rush to college after graduating high school. People opinions, goals, likes, and dislikes change over time. Instead of teens hurrying to college to study something they don't care about or one day potentially hate, parents should work with their kids on exploring the whole world of careers, jobs, and degrees, and let the teen take their time to be certain of what they truly want to do in life. You graduate from high school, you are no longer obligated by law to do anything you don't want to do except pay taxes and bills. Teens should spend a few years exploring before making up their mind on what to do with their life. That's what I did. I don't know if their English just isn't their first language, and if it isn't, I mean, they did a pretty good job, but that was a little bit hard to read. But I do agree with this. College is like you are loaded with a lifelong set of bills for going to college for a degree that you could get paid to take. Apprenticeships are like university and college degrees, only you get paid to do an apprenticeship and you're not loaded with debt at the end. I have tried for apprenticeships, but again, they're pretty hard to get, but I would take that over college or university any day. I didn't do university, and if I had done university, I wouldn't be making YouTube videos, so I think I win one day when I can make money off of YouTube. I might have to stop recording in a minute and then start recording again because my camera's gonna hit the limit. Company loyalty is a joke. I am 50 years old and have worked in IT since NT351. Hell, my first meeting with Unix was a SCO install, and my first computer was an 8-bit 48K machine with a tape deck. Glory days, but I digress. These days, I listen for trigger works in the workplace like it's expected, and can't you just when employers want me to go beyond my actual role. For example, it's expected that I drive into the office to attend meetings when I'm not on shift. No overtime. It's expected that I get in early and wade through 400 to 500 emails every day and get up to speed on current issues before my actual shift starts. 95% of these emails are junk that's CC'd to the entire company, but that stopping that would inconvenience someone else. It's expected that you cover tomorrow's shift as X can't get into the office. Yet you, Mr. Manager, hired someone who lives 30 miles away and does not drive. Can't you just log in and work out way? Plesk firewall is not working. I know that's your area. Yes, or the customer could log in with a KVM. It's an unmanaged solution after all. You get the gist here, but I should also state I am not lazy. When I work, I turn up on time and work as hard as I can during my time there and try to make myself and my team successful in everything I do, but I agreed on a contract that says what my job is and is not, and my salary and my hours. I have seen whole departments wiped out in reorganizations and employees laid off after 20 years of service who were told to leave that day without even being allowed to say goodbye to the colleagues. Company loyalty maybe existed 30 years ago, but not today. Today, you're another paycheck to get rid of when that's convenient for the company. Today is just about the company getting the maximum milk out of the minimum moo. I agree with this. I think company loyalty is just dumb and ridiculous. Why should an employee be required to care about a company that doesn't care about them? Now, I'm not saying this is all employees, and I'm not saying this is all companies, but the vast majority, especially food chains and retail, do not care about you and will not hesitate to cut you to save profits. So why should you care about them? Do your job that is required of you, but do not do more than your required job without getting extra pay, because that's how employment works. Overtime exists. You get paid to do more work. Do not do more work unless you're getting paid. Screw big corporations. Teens and young adults should not be punished for getting caught masturbating or watching porn. I'm saying this as a 16-year-old male. Masturbation is a form of release and satisfaction for many, and it can keep us satisfied enough so we don't actually go out and have sex and risk making a baby that we can't take care of. It's a very natural thing that everybody does. I know, well, I say everybody, maybe not everybody, but the vast majority of people do, and if you're doing it in private, you shouldn't be punished for it. It's like punishing someone for sneezing. It's just a human function at the end of the day. Right, I am going to now stop recording and start recording again, so I will be right back. Right, we're back. Hopefully that this solves the issue that I had in the AI dungeon video where it suddenly randomly stopped recording. Hopefully I've fixed it. I don't know. I think I just need to catch it before it stops recording and give it some time, because I think it just ran out of writing, like disk, whatever. Anyway, we got 2 more pictures to go. Making fun of someone for something like a speech impediment is just as bad as making fun of their appearance. I had a slight lisp when I was younger, and my cousins basically bullied me into spending countless hours on fixing it because it got to the point where I didn't even want to talk to anyone because I was so self-conscious and always thought people were laughing at the way I talked, even though it was very subtle. Like I said, my lisp was very slight, but there are people out there who have serious speech impediments, and there's nothing that they can do to fix it, or it would cost a ridiculous amount of money to fix. Yet I see it all the time in movies, TV, or just randomly on the internet. People make fun of speech impediments, and no one bats an eye, and they think it's hilarious. I see people making fun of the way Mike Tyson and Michael Strahan talk all the time, as though they can help it. And this is coming from the same people that would get upset if you mentioned their weight. And even though losing/gaining weight is significantly less expensive and easier to accomplish in most instances, this was triggered by seeing people troll Mike Tyson with lisping memes. I do agree with this. When it comes down to it, making fun of someone for a speech impediment that they have no control over is the same as insulting or making fun of someone for anything that they have no control over. Making fun of someone for a choice they made is, at the end of the day, based on opinion and preference, because they might have preferred the choice they made, whereas you think it's funny. But when someone has literally no control over something and you're mocking them for that, what do you expect them to do about it? They can't do anything. It's not something that's in their control. So it's just kind of dumb, really. It's just uncreative and dumb. And the final picture. Homework is the beginning of work/life imbalance and should not be a thing. Homework should be extra credit and optional. Homework that is optional and for extra credit should be the norm. If a student is struggling on a concept and needs extra practice, they'd get the extra credit to help their grade on that concept. Homework is the start of an unhealthy work/life boundaries. There are very few jobs that require you to do extra hours of work weekly at home. Jobs that require hours of weekly work, you either know about it before accepting the job, or you can quit. Kids can't quit a specific class that loads on the homework, and worse, homework is a part of their grade. If we want individuals to be able to stand up to predatory jobs and prioritize their mental health and relationships outside of work, we need to stop expecting kids to put in ridiculous amounts of time into schoolwork outside of school hours. We also need to stop penalizing kids' grades for not doing homework, especially when they are proficient in the subject. Also, there's no research that I'm aware of that suggests that homework improves student performance. Point number 2 as to why I'm never having kids unless I'm somewhere like Finland. Fun fact, Finland is one of the school systems with the lowest required amount of homework. And again, Finland has one of the most efficient education systems in the world. I absolutely agree with this. The whole point of school is that you're being taught at school. If school systems are flawed to the point where you have to learn stuff at home, that is not an issue with you, that is an issue with the school system and the education system, and should be revised to a point where you don't need homework, because that's the point where you are not at school. You should not be obligated to do work when not at school, and they should not be able to force you because you are no longer at school. You are at home, and that is not their domain. I, for the last 2 years of secondary school, didn't do homework at all. It got to a point where my teachers stopped punishing me for it because they knew I wasn't going to do it. I'm not saying everybody should do that, but that's my stance on homework. I think homework is actually the worst. That's where I'm going to end the video, guys. My camera's battery is actually getting low now, so I'm going to end this quickly. If you want to support me, I have a Patreon, or you can click that join button. If you hit the join button, you get some nice emotes and a little badge, so that's fun. I also stream over at Twitch every Thursday and Saturday at 8 p.m. I will be live in 3 hours from this video, so go check that out. I'm currently playing either Monster Hunter or The Witcher, so that's fun. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.